What's good, man? It's OG Drip, man. The channel where we talk about the spiritual truth and how to utilize energy on a day-to-day basis, man. And check this out, man. It's gonna get deep, man. There's gonna be a couple things that you gotta stay tuned into, because this ain't one of those videos you can just click into and you hear one part and you can run off with it. I'm telling you now, because it's always one of them things where you gotta be careful, because you know we live in a double dagger type of a situation and world where the things that you say, if you don't completely say it, or if you make it cliche and don't go in too much to explaining it from the broad all the way down to the the most common sense, to the most abstract or the most magical thinking point, that things could be taken the wrong way. So when I say this to the spiritual community, understand this: when we all are spiritual, you already know, when you even start taking your own conscious shift of stepping outside your home, you already face reject of people that might not understand of why you even did what you did, and not even understanding of why they might be having a misunderstanding from the beginning of why they're into something due to they was groomed into it. So when we get into things like that, yes, you have more of the world where you feel like now today is a little less people or more that's gravitating towards different religions, if anything. You get what I'm saying? So it's like where people might not be in a Muslim their whole life, might not have a Muslim in their life, and now they became one. Might not ever had a Jehovah's Witness in their life, but now they became one. And so forth. You see these things. But it's funny because when you have someone preaching the false prophets and stuff like that, they get a pass for things. You know why? Because it catered to people situations. So the false prophets would be like the conscious community, Western astrologers, anyone that call themselves one of these categories that stand for these things and have stamped themselves and categorized themselves and have not made themselves one of nothing, or being something that come to everything that we have in existence, which is being the actual form of God. So a lot of times these things have things where they do not actually make sense in one part, you know what I mean, or things where we'll run across contradictions depending on how the situation play out. So this even go out through occults and all these type of things. So when we limit ourselves, so if you one of these things, don't just take it like this. Don't limit yourself. Don't let your brain get stuck on the one understanding. If you is so-called want to be spiritual, but if you is spiritual, you already know what I'm talking about. Because when it comes down to like real spiritual, because we always have to have the separation, because everything that says is this is not necessarily that. And we already know it's going to be things that portray itself a deceivement. So we know it's two things in this world. It's either the deceiving or what the truth is actually is. So many people read the Bible and understand that God is the truth and understand that the devil is the deceivement, but they don't understand it from, or overstand it from, a point of looking at it of how it could collide across the whole world of being able to control a person's mind, to the fact of having someone hold something and have false prophets, have Holy Ghost type of stuff where they look like they be on a demonic possessions, have all of these things where they're cherishing, drinking the blood of cannibalism, which they also know not to do, and also here not to talk to the dead. So when we're going into this is, listen out, check this out. If you don't have a scripture on what is going on right now, anytime you have the messenger, which is you being a spiritual person, to understand, to have the deep understanding of why we seeking out God, nothing on this material world matters. You get what I'm saying? And all the way to the degree is, only time it matters is if you trying to pinpoint a position to show someone what is actually going on. So a lot of times you can't show people this. So when it speaks this in the Bible of Romans chapter 3, verse 10 to 12, when it's sitting there trying to tell you in your own book of how everyone would think they're doing the right thing in the world and not even actually noticing, they're not even giving God no actual grace. So they're doing things all to the concept of man, all the way down to the point that man tell you when to go to church, or tell you where to go, or tell you how to do it, or tell you how to find God, to the point that they're fulfilling every area of that, and you're walking into them. So you do not see what's going on so bad until you can't even help yourself or save yourself. That's the reason why you have the conscious community, or people in like making movies like The Matrix talking about the chosen ones, because they're locked under the concept of how many people could be blind. But that doesn't mean everyone is ready in this lifetime to be able to become spiritual. Now, let's break down some stuff. Now, when it comes down to this, you also hear in this passage, Romans 3, verse 23, and any one of your Bibles, no matter how they word the play, you could still read between it. You know what I'm saying? Where they're basically saying, once again, the messenger would be received as dislike, because you know why? Because the messenger is coming as God. And the one thing about it is, when it's just coming to the grace of God, y'all can't accept that, but y'all can accept the pastor telling you, hey, God told me to tell you this, which is those the false prophets that's doing this. They don't have a reason or alignment or a transition of understanding nothing that's going on above them nor below them of how to actually move. And this is what makes it crazy, because, excuse me, y'all, but this is what makes it crazy when you have people like, really breaking out spirituality and take random bullets because of you going to automatically, as God told you to do, be a messenger of me. Don't let things go uncast. You get what I'm saying? Show you everywhere you come to the building. So a lot of people are not able to accept you from a different degree, but everyone want you around them or want you in their area. So when it come down to these type of things, you can see where God could put you in positions where you could speak something that has never even been brought up into this world. So it's like you speaking for things that's out of this world. Uh-oh, be in here, yo. But anyway, it's like you speaking to things out of this world. So when you get into the deep understanding of these actual scriptures of what's going on, it breaks down the understanding that we have to have. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to walk back here real quick. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it get deep. That bee had to just come in there, didn't it? But I'm got to remind myself to get it out there that day. I don't want my kids to get in there and get stung or nothing like that. So, when it come down to us understanding deep messages, a lot of us get messed up because we want messages that's comfortable. So anytime it's untimbered, and this don't mean something like somebody's just attacking you. You don't have to get mad at the messenger. The messenger is just bringing it. So it could be a person that's just talking or a person just saying something or adding their 2 cents. Sometimes a lot of us will go without 2 cents added, without understanding how life play out. Let me give y'all a prime example real quick without nobody getting lost. So like in battle rap, right? If people getting help or assist from somebody to say, hey, that line is hard, yeah, you might need to say that. Or say, this one is outdated. You can see how it affect the battler, or you can see how it affects the person that's trying to go into something. That's like McDonald's. Why you think they ask us about our opinions or ask us what do we think that we should add? It's because at the end of the day, not only do your opinion accounts, but you also have to be able to understand how other ones may come. So a lot of times when you have people that's trying to be prophets, they want to speak from their hurt or speak from a bind that they haven't completely faced in their life. So a lot of times when we see these people, you know what I mean, it be messed up because they'll sit there and they'll have a leadway of people that's comforting them, and these same people suffer from the same anxiety or the same pain and struggles that they're doing. So it's like everybody be creating their own spiritual group in a way, but at the same time, this one be like a mental force group of a magic spell because it's talking about mental things, mental forms that you're not able to be. All the way to the point that when you're more spiritual, sometimes you got to be almost like a robot to show no emotions towards certain things, because when you show emotions towards things at a certain time, you know how it can get you stabbed. You know how it can get you over. So a lot of times when you be vulnerable, it's cool. You get what I'm saying? It works. But when you have in situations where you're in a fight, you do not just put down your sword and your shield of things. So a lot of times these people pick up their religion beliefs or the way that it was raised and they go against it. It's just like getting up here, right? And you have Western chariots or Western people that do astrology and Eastern. To a person that knows astrology, this should be like, why is it even a separation? You know what I'm saying? And try to get the understanding between the two. So it's kind of like, hey, not joining, but understanding what it's like to be with each gang or each type of place. But a lot of times, even if you got gangs of how world operate now, you can look at it now. It ain't just no old school, that's old, that's outdated. That ain't working no more. Each people been needing each other. A lot of times, even with gangbanging, people have the misconception of what is going on there. Like, it's not no actual beef like that. You don't understand the situation or the neighborhoods or the things that happen in there that made things this type of way. But a lot of times, these people nowadays, we see them. We see musicians. We see all these people doing music together, no matter what they bang, no matter what they push. So when we're looking at these people that's going through these things, we see that they even are upgraded. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, nah, bro, we could get more money together if we stop shooting each other, we stop killing each other. But at the same time, when it comes down to the messenger of God, you already know is you're going to take all type of shots. So when these type of people are going to be going through these things, when they're trying to, shed away from death and talk about life and speak life into things, of course, they're going to have a couple haters that pop up out of nowhere and people that go to try to basically push them off their curve of what they're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to King Yellow, FYBJ, man, all y'all, because y'all going to have words and all these type of things where it already done been some type of mental world where now, due to you social media, you're being seen a certain way. So when you try to put out a certain image, now you got to battle with this due to somebody say the wrong words or somebody say something a messed up way. No matter what the truth is behind it, it be about the respect of each other at the same time. So at the end of the day, that's all it be about. So when people come to that, they'll see respect between anything. They'll even respect a killer or whatever. But when it comes down to being a messenger of God, and you take all different type of bullets. You take every single bullet that I just named, including the ones I didn't even talk about, because at the end of the day, people do not like it, and they do not want to seek advice for God. You know what I'm saying? They'll rather do it and put it and say it's their own. But nothing wrong with that, bro. And you just got to know, like, those ain't the people that you're talking to. So when you're doing something like what I'm doing right here, you're talking to a broad band of people, of whoever want to click on this and hear what's coming from it. So this not someone that you just instead of just saying stuff to them in person, because a lot of times that play out to our actual personal life, where we'll be giving game out, and a person might take a lot of game that they accept from us, but if they go outside and try to learn something for themselves, and it just be something where it might not be, appropriate, or to them it might lead them to catastrophic but they might have not seen it. You might have, due to you looking from the eyes of God. It's not like you trying to find nothing wrong with people. And a lot of times these be people that we love, so it's not like we're going to try to find something that's wrong with these people. But a lot of times this is how this energy play out, to that we could be the same people that treat somebody with so much respect and give somebody the world, and they could give us a bag full of shit. So we living in that world, and if you don't believe it, look at the world. You got rich people go through this, poor people go through this, and I hate categorizing people like that. But it's better than doing how people be actually doing when they put it with black and white, because I hate when it's race bait like that as well. But at the same time, we got so many words and so many people that's not actually comprehending what someone's saying, so they getting lost into the words or getting lost into what's going on at the scene. It's not about that all the time. It's about the subconsciousness sometimes. It's about what's going on in the spiritual realm first. And we be seeing that from a mile away, and sometimes we be unstuck. Our foot out and got our foot slammed and cut off and stuff like this, or our hand out, and the only thing it seems like we're doing is trying to help humanity, but at the same time we facing burns and slashes and lashes, so like it explains in Romans 3 as well. So when we going through these things, man, it's deep, and a lot of people don't understand it, and they're not going to try to if you read the Romans right correctly. And now this is the same book that they'll use and have you feeling like your pastor is the right one and everything he's saying is the truth. But now, when we break down your pastor, the difference between being Western Hemisphere out is your pastor, he don't have where it's coming from. He only have his mind. So that'd be the same thing as being someone that's conscious, or someone that's say if you don't know the transits, but you know about alignments. Say that hey, I don't know exact what transit it is, but I know how planets work and I know what energies is. By you having that, so it's just like you not having a category, right, of you being able to see what we're going through. So a lot of times, a lot of people don't understand this is how the calendars were created. This is how astrology was made. It was from self-experience first. Like, that is how it's created. So when you're starting to feel, it's the energy in there, and sometimes you could get hit and blindsided. But so that's why we ended up making a different way that we can see things to try to prevent those on a different level. You feel what I'm saying? As in being mental pilots. But when it comes down to people of the world, they use it more of the how to control the world to the smallest degrees of the deacons, down to each one of them that feel like they have a word, or each one of them that feel like they have a position to take. So all the way throughout your month, you will see how different zodiacs. You got a first deacon, second deacon, third. So when you're looking at the 30 days or the 30 degrees of what we got to say now, because of all the mix up and stuff like that, is looking at how each one of them have a little difference, and one of them is closer to another sign than the next one. And then the one you're looking in the middle, it's like separated in threes. So a lot of times when they see stuff like that, they don't understand it. So when they're looking at it, they don't understand why this stuff come in threes, like the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, and those type of things. So when they're looking at it, only thing they receive is actual like, how I'm gonna say, mental wars that was going on with it themselves. Because if they never was around this type of stuff, or was hating on this type of stuff, or was a jealous or tempted spirit, it wouldn't have never came about. So when we having these type of things, it's like, where is you pulling this from? Listen, anytime it come down to these things, man, like astrology and all, bro, of course, we going to be hated when we talking about we really subconscious. You know why? Because we don't hold back on nothing. And then on top of that, and it's just something for people to learn, bro, dead serious. You know, you can take it your own thing, bro. Y'all don't see me up here doing tariots and stuff like that. Well, tarot reading and stuff like that, right? But at the end of the day, y'all understand, especially y'all that's in the subconscious group and that know astrology by yourselves, y'all already know what I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? So when it come down to relatability, that's the reason why we have like something like astrology. But getting to the point of saying, hey, this is where we mean from the message of God. So if you're able to take that message and bring it or speak it into existence, this is what they were talking about. So yeah, it's like the pastors, they all trying to do it, but they're doing it the wrong way, because a lot of them doing it from a conscious part. So a lot of them are doing it from a 4th, 5th, 6th dimensional thing. And this is talking about like on a deep note. They're not bringing it from actually what's going on above them and what's going on before they even know. You know what I mean? They're not doing that. So that's why you have weekly monthly, days of the week. That's why you got these things, and that's how they made a calendar of making these differences. It could have just been things called days. They didn't have to make weeks. They didn't have to make months. They didn't have to make years. They didn't have to make decades. So when you're understanding these things, now you could get down to the breakdown of, oh, megabytes, terabytes, oh, damn, oh, how everything go to a transforming and then it deduct itself, but it means more, even though it's a different spelling to it, a different curse to it. So you just understanding all the spells that be out here, man. But anyways, that's what I wanted to say to the Christians, if they can understand that. But a lot of times we, as people, we gonna go through it, man. Especially if you talking about spiritual people, man. Like, listen, y'all. It's a lot in this world, man, to the point that you don't even have to, like, bro, you don't even have to do nothing necessarily wrong to somebody. Everybody could tell you how they feel and stuff like that. And then it's like, if you just like, fuck the feelings, y'all. We all bump heads. Oh, okay, y'all, let's get over it. Let's talk about the word. Or let's talk about this. It's like the world, the people, like your family members or the people that you're around, depending on, because some people don't have family. So it'd be the associates or the people that they're basically around because the whole world is taken over by this type of stuff, where it's like, oh, you gotta have this, oh, you gotta have that. And some people look at you and judge you for stuff like that. So this world will sit there, and it's funny because they'll sit there and judge you for anything you do wrong or anything they feel like you did wrong. But they don't judge the people that's actually doing wrong all the time because they have a past, because they're doing wrong. It's okay. So this is the type of world that we're living in, man. And at the end of the day, it plays out like that. Yeah, you can love people, man, and they might not understand how far you love them, to the point that you got stuff set up way in the front before they can even get it in their mind how much it is. You know what I'm saying? Where you setting up stuff like a whole battle. You know how you play the game Battleship? And you set up your little pieces like you playing Battleship or chess way in the esoteric realm before it even get here. You already paid for some stuff at the esoteric realm, the bus from the mental realm, aka the pilot or the way that we transposition ourselves or transportation, sitting there while getting the stuff to be able to bring down to the body. A lot of times people don't want to accept that. So yeah, it's supposed to come through the mind before it speaks out the body or speaks out the mouth, or yes, it's going to come through the body, or it's going to come through the mind before we create something. So all the times I just talk about different forces of something becoming solid. Like, yeah, we're going to see the whole alchemy behind it. We're going to see the fire. We're going to see the air. We're going to see the water. And we're going to see the earth. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see it. And we can see it today of how we get oceans, how we get volcanoes, how we see all these things. So when a person can't explain to you how we get these things, but yet reading the same book and Bible and stuff, then we have to understand this too. It's societies out there that hire people to lead people to blindness, and also train people to lead those ones into blindness. So if you got 15 people out here training people at a high mass and at a forceful attitude, why? Because they got the sauce of what? Manipulating the world by putting themselves at a higher position than anything else. So when you have these type of things like Tyler Perry could cross-dress and that type of stuff, and it could blow or more than anybody else did at those times period. However, and it's always those type of people where I'm not talking on him, but it be always those type of people where you like, how this person blowed, and we all know about this person that was doing that first, or that was doing this before then, and how this person ended up getting it. This person was doing the same thing. And it ain't necessarily the talent. We see that in this world today. It's not the talent. So when we going through things like that, that's all I'm trying to get y'all to understand. If what I'm saying is false or what I'm saying is allowed, then why do people speak of it every day? If the world is good, why do people complain about it every day? Why do we see people dying that doesn't deserve to die? Why do we see this? Oh, y'all gonna say because of the people that's in it? So how do these people get in it? So what else is wrong with the world? Y'all gonna tell us the plant's bad? You gonna tell us what else bad? Because if you think about it, everything else is on its own mission to survive, or is on its own mission just to live. If anything, the trees seem like the most nicest ones. They ain't doing jack to nobody. The plants. You get what I'm saying? They getting ate. You know what I'm saying? The animals. They getting ate by each other, or they eating each other, or the plants, they're dog. So when you understanding the life cycles of understanding why these things was created before we even made a word called tree or a word called food or plant, now we can talk about how deep it actually goes, man. And hopefully this video get out, because last time it took like 4 hours for a real deep spiritual video to get out, and it wrecked my algorithm of how my stuff go. But either way, man, they like to do stuff like that too. It's all different ways to monitor and censor somebody. So it's crazy at the end of the day that all you could do is sit here and just have an opinion. Everybody else can have their opinions, right? Just look at it like that, right? If you want to be lost, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna be mad at him. Everybody have an opinion, right? You get mad at a person that has an opinion and they don't basically know why they had that opinion. You know what I mean? It's weird for a person, or it's just odd for a person, and it's okay because we all learn and stuff throughout life, that a person to have an opinion and feel a type of way about someone or something that someone said without actually taking in the full understanding of what someone's saying. So that's how we get the world we got today, where you might get shot for saying the wrong thing. Am I wrong? You get what I'm saying? You don't know what day they might be having, but they might shoot you for saying the wrong thing. And before they know it, you're dead already. And you might not even have said nothing like that. You might not even said nothing offensive at all. But a lot of times this is because you have things like Lilith. You have things in the back that's pending. So this is what I was saying earlier, where you have to know the energies so you can know when you're getting hit by or when it's starting to take effect. Because a lot of times these things right here make us end up in situations none of us really want to be in. None of us really want to take the life of somebody unless they become what? A psycho killer, where they lose their minds, aka they lose their emotions towards humanity. It ain't about losing it. You have made yourself a human. It ain't about losing it. It's about using it. So that's the reason why we utilize energy on this channel on a day-to-day basis, man. But anyways, man, I'm probably gonna make a part 2 of this because, you know, every time we talk about stuff like this, we always got to have a handkerchief of God. It's just like how the pastors try to dress and stuff. We have to have that handkerchief and have these things and these coats to be able to put on people when we bring them to our altar. You feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of times this baptism come with a fiery baptism, or one that you just have to be emotionally strong for and stuff like that. So a lot of us be stuck on bisons because it feel good and it feel right. Or a lot of us is, I like this, I like that. So a lot of us got so lost into our humanity of our wants and needs that we forget that God over there like, yo, what about me? And like, nah, we gave you a day out of the week, God. Oh, how many days I gave you? Okay. How many nights I gave you? Okay. So when we get into things like that, it's just saying the energy itself being produced, or even saying us make an atmosphere, you know what I'm saying, where a lot of people don't understand how we even get words like atom, how we get words like fear, sphere. And then when we looking in life, a sphere in a circle, and stuff like that, how we get all these type of coordinations of stuff. Do y'all think the people that made that was the only ones that's smart? So that's what we're starting to see today, where a world of the people that concepted these Bibles and words, they probably thought, hey, people should be able to understand this. They shouldn't be able to take it seriously, because otherwise it's going to contradict itself. The next thing you know, that's the world we live in, And I ain't just saying it like that, but in general, if God was telling them to, hey, this is for you, just saying, for you to push out, and this is your message to push, why so many people get the message mixed up? Why is it not so common sense? Why is it all these trickeries and terminologies and these different uses of languages that these people do not speak nor understand? Why do it seem like, and these are the most comfortable languages that people are getting up to? And why is it so adaptable? Where is the people zone? Why do we have to adapt to the things that's created by a such society where people could be looked at upon a social status and not upon the actual, they and have power over actually people that's not secure and that's not part of their family? Like, how can a person have more power? How can one person have a power over their family, but this one person have power over families? So this is the world that we live in. That's what I'm trying to say. God dang, how are we living based off our social status like that? How are we not living in a world of a concept of power? God is power. God is love. God is all these things, right? Because they made these things out of stuff. They were the ones understanding being curators and understanding magical spells, understanding why we even got the spelling, grammar, understanding why we got these things called cursed words. So why even make a word that's cursed? You get what I'm saying? Like, so when y'all going through these type of things, people are already going to run into contradictions out to tell, where you cannot accept the reality that, hey, this do have something wrong with it. But you know why? Because you turn a couple pages, I mess with this page right here. Maybe it ain't that. Maybe it's the concept of them pushing it a certain way for a certain group to understand it, but push it amongst all groups so they could give a group certain power depending on how they is in the heart and depending on their intentions. You have people that want to get powerful, want to get spiritual, but don't have the right heart behind it. You get what I'm saying? So when they want to get there, or their intentions to get there, is to actually rule the world. It's not to have the world understanding the rules of themselves, or the zodiacs, or the psychics, as we should say. So that you have people not understanding how to be a spiritual sensei. So people don't understand their senses. So instead of us studying stuff that we have nothing of, we have no time to study ourselves. We have no time. We have no time. You get what I'm saying? That's why you hear conscious communities telling you we have no time to do none of this stuff. We got to get right to it. And that's what's going on out here. But anyways, man, I'm going to shorten this one up. I'm going to do part 2 or whatever, y'all. And I'm out. OG Drip.